Hi, it's me, Emily, your Basin PBS Membership Director. Do you know how much your gift of membership means to Basin PBS? Do you know what a difference you make? Your investment in Basin PBS helps make sure more of what you want continues to reach the airwaves for you and everyone you care about. We love bringing you programming on and off the air that's entertaining and educational, uplifting and inspiring, engaging and captivating. Think about a time when your mind was blown by an amazing animal fact on nature, or when there was an unexpected plot twist in your favorite drama on Masterpiece, or when you better understood a local issue because of a debate or town hall. All of those things make you a part of something amazing. But truthfully, we can't make any of this happen without you. Your support makes it all possible. We really do need you. So if you aren't already a member, please consider becoming one today. For as little as $5 a month or $60 per year, you can not only invest in Basin PBS, but gain access to Basin PBS Passport and stream many of your favorite programs anywhere you want, anytime you want. It's easy. You can visit us online or call the station and talk to me. I hope to hear from you soon.
You're watching the Basin PBS Midland County Sheriff's Debate live from the Anwar Family Studio. Submit your questions via the Basin PBS Facebook page.
Good evening and welcome to Basin PBS, where we are coming to you live from the Anwar Family Studio. I'm Becky Ferguson, a member of the Basin PBS Board, and on behalf of the board, thank you for joining us tonight. We are honored to host the 2024 Midland County Sheriff's Debate. Basin PBS is known for its quality programming, where we provide not only education but entertainment too. Tonight's program is a culmination of our mission to educate and to inform. This program is made possible by our members. Tonight we have a small studio audience, and we are thrilled to have all of you, our Basin PBS supporters, watching at home on channels 13 or 36, or live on our Facebook page, where we encourage you to submit questions for our candidates. We will do our best to ask them live tonight. Joining me at the moderator's desk tonight is Mary Kate Hamilton of CBS 7.
Thank you very much, Becky. Tonight's debate will be 60 minutes in length with one 2-minute break. These questions were developed by a small team of representatives from the public and our Basin PBS Facebook page, where the public was invited to submit questions. We will begin tonight's debate by giving each candidate, in order of how they are listed on the ballot, 2 minutes for opening remarks. After these opening remarks, the moderators will pose a series of general questions, and each candidate will then have 1 minute to respond to each question. In the event a candidate's answer to a question invokes the name or the policy position of one or more opponents, the moderators, at our sole discretion, can give the referenced opponent 30 seconds to respond. It is important to note an individual candidate may also be asked a direct question because of a statement or a policy position they've held during the campaign. The candidate will have 1 minute to answer that direct question. The 30-second rebuttal rule will still apply. At the conclusion of tonight's questions, each candidate will have 2 minutes for closing statements, and we would like to remind everyone that this is a live broadcast, so flash photography, loud noises, or other disruptive actions or comments are not allowed. Now, without further ado, let's meet our 3 candidates for Midland County Sheriff. Sheriff David Kreiner.
Good evening. I'm Sheriff David Kreiner, and I'm here this evening.
We're just introducing, sorry. You
sorry.
will have your 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, okay.
Shortly,
No worries.
Mr. Justin Painter
Good evening.
and Mr. Rory McKinney.
Good evening.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight. And now we will begin our opening remarks. Sheriff Kreiner, we are going to start with you. You'll have 2 minutes.
I apologize for that. I'm here this evening to let you all get to know me better as a person. I've been your sheriff for over 3 years now, and I'm passionate about 3 things. I'm very passionate about my relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm very passionate about my relationship with my wife of 42 years, Judy, who's in the audience. And I'm very passionate about protecting and serving the citizens of Midland County and keeping this a safe place to live and a great place to raise a family. I'm the only candidate here with over 42 years' experience in law enforcement. In that 42 years, I've never been a subject of any criminal investigation, nor have I ever been written up. I'm the only candidate that has voted consistently as a conservative Republican in Midland County. I'm also the only candidate with a degree in criminal justice. In 2020, when I took office, I was hit with COVID, and you all know how that went. In 2021, I was hit with Joe Biden. Joe Biden has tried to ruin this country. He's trying to ruin Texas, and he's going to try to ruin Midland County. That won't happen as long as I'm your sheriff. Joe Biden is not welcome in Texas, and we will not accept his policies, what he's been doing to our country. I'm very passionate about that. I'm very passionate about our Second Amendment rights as well. That will never be jeopardized with me as your sheriff, because I don't tolerate that stuff to protect you guys in what we do every day on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Painter.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Justin Painter, and I would like to thank Basin PBS for inviting me tonight. My lifelong journey in law enforcement began as a young boy, accompanying my father, Sheriff Gary Painter, on his patrols around Midland County. I witnessed various crimes in our community firsthand, igniting my desire to pursue a career in law enforcement. I grew up learning the ins and outs of the sheriff's office and the jail. I continued to ride with my father even after I enlisted in the United States Air Force September 11, 2001. I served as an Air Force military police officer for 12 years and classified as an expert marksman, a DWI and Toxilizer instructor, a major accident investigator, and a squadron trainer. I was privileged to graduate from the U.S. Army Special Weapons and Tactics School, or SWAT. Afterwards, I helped establish the 15th Security Force Squadron Special Response Team. During my service, I was promoted to staff sergeant and supervised over 40 military police officers. I deployed 6 times worldwide and received numerous awards and medals for my exceptional service. Following my honorable discharge from the Air Force, I returned to my hometown of Midland and attended the Permian Basin Law Enforcement Academy. Upon graduation, I worked for the Andrews County Sheriff's Office before moving to Montgomery County Sheriff's Office in Conroe, where I served as a patrol deputy in a county of approximately 1 million residents. I responded to investigative calls of service ranging from assistance to murder. In 2022, I was awarded the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office Law Officer of the Year at over 530 sworn deputies. Driven by my passion for law enforcement, desire to serve my hometown and the people of Midland County, returned to Midland, where I work at the MISD Police Department, protecting our children and employees. My vision is based on transparency, accountability, and community engagement. As sheriff, I will be focused on aggressively enforcing crimes of all nature. I will update the personnel policy and procedure manual, recruit and retain patrol and detention officers. Finally, I believe in collaborating with fellow law enforcement and other agencies to enhance our abilities to protect our community. I'm confident that I am the best candidate to positively transform the Midland County Sheriff's Office. My name is Justin Painter, and I hope to earn your vote as Sheriff of Midland County. God bless you all, and God bless Texas. Thank you.
Thank you. And your opening statement, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, and again, thank you for allowing me here to speak. I am Roy McKinney, and I'm running for Sheriff of Midland County in the Republican primary. I've been married to my wife for 35 years. We have 3 children and 5 grandchildren, with 1 more due in March. I graduated from Alpine High School in 1985, and in January of 1986, I went to work for the Midland County Sheriff's Office. I started in the jail section like everybody does at that time, under Sheriff Gary Painter. In 1988, I graduated from the Odessa Police Academy and was promoted to the patrol section. From the patrol section, I was transferred to the criminal investigation section, where I worked all types of misdemeanor and felony cases. During that time, I also worked 5 years in the narcotics section, and also I was the first canine handler at the Midland County Sheriff's Office. Also served in the Midland County Sheriff's Office SWAT team that was utilized in ending the Fort Davis standoff in 1997. In 1998, I was promoted to lieutenant over the criminal investigation section, and also during that time, I was a Midland County Sheriff's Office SWAT commander. In 2002, I was promoted to captain over the public safety division. And again, the Midland County Sheriff's Office was called on again. I was the on-scene supervisor on executing a search warrant on the FLDS compound in El Dorado, Texas. Myself, along with several other entities, were there. We took a lot of young children out of that bad environment and put them in a safer place. In 2016, I was promoted to chief deputy, where I still continued to be a hands-on supervisor with all the employees. And in 2017, I received Texas of the Lawman Year Award from the Sheriff's Association of Texas. And again, my name is Roy McKinney, And thank y'all again for allowing me to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now that we've gotten everyone's opening statements, without further ado, we're going to jump into some questions for all of you. Crime statistics for the county, as reported in the February 10th edition of the Midland Reporter-Telegram, show a 20% increase in burglaries, a 20% increase in motor vehicle theft, and a 9% increase in attempted robberies. What does this data mean for the safety of Midland County residents, and what is the Midland County Sheriff's role in improving safety? Mr. McKinney, we're going to start with you.
I think, number one, it goes to being out in the public. Right now, the Midland County Sheriff's Office is down in patrol, and that's taken away from the community presence. We get more community presence out there, then we're going to lower crime. We start trying to figure out if there is a certain area where there are certain types of crimes that are happening, a trend, if you will, then we need to jump on that as quickly as we can and get that trend stopped. But again, it's community presence. If we have more community presence, marked patrol units, that should lower the crime rate.
Mr. Painter?
Mr. McKinney is correct. Having more patrols out there would definitely help. The more, just being out there itself is just a deterrent itself for crime. Biggest part is we have to get the people in, we have to keep them in. We can't train them and then have them step out a couple of years later. Biggest thing is having a good, solid leadership team to want those people that they want to stay, that they want to continue to do what they do so they can support you and support the department and keep the community safe.
Sheriff Greiner?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that question. You know, crime is on the rise. It's on the rise across the nation. A lot of that has to do with, I believe, is the accountability. We've softened the sentences on some of these individuals. A lot of these folks are repeat offenders. We're lucky here in the Permian Basin that we have a great relationship, the Sheriff's Office, with our local city, with our brothers in the Ector County Sheriff's Office, State Police, DPS, and the Federal Marshal Service, and also the FBI. And we're fighting a crime that comes to this area, and we're a united front. We don't tolerate stuff, and they know we don't tolerate stuff. We have so much technology out there that these gentlemen may not know about, that we track crime, and we track individuals that commit crimes. And it's a blessing to us because a lot of that stuff was donated by individuals in the community. The funds were to get that stuff. And we've solved many, many crimes with that, including the recent stuff that happened in Greenwood a few months ago. That was a big case, and our investigators, we're the best in West Texas. I'm so proud of this agency for what they do on a daily basis.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. The Midland County Sheriff's Office and the Midland Police Department are separate entities. Could you explain the specific role of the Sheriff's Office and how these departments differ? And we're going to start with you, Mr. Painter.
The Sheriff's Office takes care of everybody in the county outside the city limits. It's not as many people as in the city limits, obviously, so they're just more spread out. So we're going to have to go further. That's why we need more patrols. We can't have, it's hard to have one patrol in every sector, but Mr. Kreiner is doing a great job with it. He's getting there with it, but we have more people in. We can put more people in each district to get the job done, so we have to travel as far to answer these calls.
Thank you. Mr. McKinney?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to hear the question again, or do you have it?
No, ma'am. Like Justin said, the city, the Midland Police Department handles everything inside the city. Midland Sheriff's Office handles everything outside the county. But there's also been several times where the Midland Police Department, just because they're the Midland Police Department doesn't mean that they can't come out in the county. And they've done that several times before. They give us courtesy calls. We'll even go with them and help them and assist them. And then vice versa. We have gone inside the city on several occasions to answer calls, and we will notify them as well if they need assistance. And it's having a partnership with each other, with each entity.
Thank you. Sheriff?
I'm glad that's another good question. I'm glad these individuals recognize that our relationship speaks volumes with Seth and his group of individual officers. We are one in the city of Midland and the county of Midland, Texas. We meet each other on a weekly basis. Me and Seth have several conversations weekly on our phones talking about what's going on, what are the trends, can we help each other. We've done several operations together, and that has not stopped, nor will it ever stop, because we know how important the safety is of our women and children. And one thing Seth and I have agreed upon wholeheartedly is that we won't allow those that prey upon our women and children to do that to our people here in Midland County, Texas. It's just something we don't tolerate, and we will not ever tolerate that. Seth, our SWAT teams do stuff together. We share equipment. As you saw in 2020, we were sharing things back during those times. We all have families. We care about this community. We care about our kids, our grandkids, and that's what our goal is, to keep you all safe, and we do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Midland County Jail, while currently in compliance with state jail standards, was found out of compliance twice last year on account of improper logging for restraint chair checks, jailers not logging complete training, and a recreation log not being properly filled out. So the question is, what are your plans for keeping Midland County in compliance going forward? Sheriff Kreiner, we're going to start with you.
Oh, thank you. That's another good question. Thank you so much for that. I'm glad you brought that up. Those are technical deficiencies and technical assistance items that we had non-compliance issues on. As you read, those are paperwork. They were things that we weren't logging properly. When the commission came in and asked our inmates about that, they said, we're getting all the rec time we're supposed to have. So there's not really a concern there except for the logging of those times and keeping that stuff properly logged in the books that they looked at. On the restraint chairs, that's another thing. They weren't properly logged, but they are now. As you know, a jail is a hard thing to run. We can be in compliance and have everything going perfect at 9 o'clock. And if the jail commission comes in at 9:01, they're going to find something broken because those inmates tear things up. And that's the way our jail is old, as these guys are aware of. But we do the best we can. We now have a compliance officer to make sure that we don't follow those non-compliance items as we have in the past, because it's tough in jail. I mean, they're there 24/7. Our staff is cream of the crop.
Thank you very much. Mr. Painter?
Just like Mr. Kreiner said, those inmates do tear up stuff. Turn your back, they're going to tear something up. My plan is to be more engaged with the jail, walk the jail floor, hopefully on a daily basis, do my best to. Talk to the jailers, talk to the inmates, see what's going on, see what they see on their side, and hope to correct it before the inspection team gets there. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. McKinney?
Yes. You just have to stay on top of it. You have to stay on top of it. The jail commission comes in, and it's a surprise visit. Of course, they're not going to tell you and say, hey, we're coming in next week. It's a surprise visit, which, and rightfully so. The jail is old, but it's even when I was there, it fell out of compliance. The jail commission is so meticulous, and they should be, to keep the safety of the inmates. We just need to stay on top of it. If something is broke, we need to fix it. We need to always think every day when the jailers go to work that the jail commission is going to come in that day and inspect us. So we need to always be thinking in advance that if something's broke, that we need to fix it.
Now we have our first question of the evening from Facebook. So this is from one of our viewers. How will you improve transparency and communication? Mr. McKinney, I'm going to bounce back to you.
Okay. Transparency, number one, it starts with being out in the public. It starts with being open to the public, either whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on media type organizations. In responding to major crime scenes, everybody's seen it. What is the major, why is there so many units at this certain address? Me as sheriff, I'm going to be a lawman sheriff. I'm going to be a hands-on sheriff. I will be at that scene. And I will tell the news people, even if it's just a brief synopsis. Of course, it's probably an ongoing investigation, so we're limited to what we can divulge. But just something to get that out there to the public so that they will know what the Midland County Sheriff's Office is doing. Transparency is very important, not only to the employees, but also to the public, and I will be 100% transparent to the public.
Mr. Painter?
Like Mr. McKinney said, transparency, have an open door policy where they can come in and talk to us, let them know what's on their mind. I do plan on being out on the road as well, responding to calls, responding to scenes with my people. Again, walking the jail floor as well. Being out there whenever the media is out there, being able to talk to them face to face. They come into the office during the weekday. Again, talk to them face to face, and just like Mr. McKinney said, only so much you can divulge at a time. So, and work with them. Thank
you. And Sheriff Kreiner?
Another good question. Thank you for asking that as well. Community relationships. We do have a community relationships officer now with the Midland County Sheriff's Office. That position was developed under my reign as your sheriff. We also have an internal affairs division, which is brought in under my reign as sheriff as well. That way, the public knows that if they have a concern, they can come to us and we will investigate that and take the proper discipline if necessary. We do have major crimes happening in Midland. I acknowledge that. But when major crime scenes happen, we have a command post to set up. And me and Seth usually get together and work on that to put stuff out to the public that we can share. You can't always share everything, but we're at the command post monitoring things, getting our drones set up, and shuffling people where they need to be in order to solve that crime and make sure it happens in an orderly fashion so we don't have anything that we could lose in the court system. And very meticulous in that pattern because you can lose a court case over something minute. So we're there guiding and directing those from a command post and bouncing us off each other. A lot of times the DAs are with us as well to make sure that we are dotting our I's and crossing our T's during that process.
Thank you. There has been a lot of attention on the Texas border of late. How is Midland affected by immigration issues, and what is the Midland County Sheriff's role when it comes to border issues? I'm going to start with you, Mr. Painter.
Right now, due to President Biden, every county in the state of Texas is having border issues. Biggest thing is working with Austin, working with Governor Abbott, working with our Border Patrol, DPS, to help get a handle on it. And every night when people, or every day in the jail, we can run their names against the list. And if they need to be detained for ICE, we detain them, and then we can get them sent back to the border and sent back across, along with Governor Abbott's new policy.
Thank you, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am, like Justin alluded to, Governor Abbott, bless his heart, he's trying to do everything that he can to not only close off the border for Texas, but for the whole country. They're going all over the whole country. There's Venezuelans, Cambodians. It's not just Mexico citizens that are coming across. And one of the bad things about that is we really don't know where they're going, where they're ending up. They will cross over into the border and actually produce a document, but we don't know if that's real or not, have their real name on it or not. Say they have friends and family in Midland, Odessa, but they'll wind up in Chicago, Illinois. So that's something that's really bothering me, but also not just human trafficking type people that are coming across, but also terrorist cells could be coming across, and that's very dangerous. And we need to work, like Justin said, with the governor's office, with the Border Patrol, to help curtail that. We need to help them stop that. If it means we need to send people down to the border to help, then we will.
Thank you. Sheriff Kreiner.
Yep. As you know, Joe Biden's open policy has created many challenges for law enforcement across this nation. Every county in Texas is now a border county. We see the consequences of Joe Biden's every day because of increased crime, overdose from dangerous drugs like fentanyl, human trafficking, and it's not just law enforcement that's effective. It's a strain on our schools, our health care, and our social services. Governor Abbott has blessed me with a unit called the TAG unit starting in 2025. It's Texas Anti-Gang Unit, and we're going to be heading that up. It's a multi-jurisdictional law enforcement officers come together to fight crime. We have a gang intelligence officer in our jail who monitors those who come in and out of our jail to see who these guys are. In fact, the last few weeks ago, we had that unfortunate incident on that child, and it was our jail that identified that guy and learned that he'd been deported 5 times, 1 time willingly. That's how important the Midland County Sheriff's Office is to fighting these guys that come across illegally.
Thank you.
As we all well know, this week the county commissioners approved the use of certificates of obligation to build a new $170 million jail. So how will you ensure this jail is best utilized and is a positive investment for Midland County? Sheriff Kreiner, we'll start with you.
You know, I've been in constant contact with the designer of the jail, the architect of the jail, and we're making sure that, number one, our employees are safe and they have a good environment to work in. Secondly, we want to make sure that our inmates are safe as well, that they're getting the proper needs that they have, medical needs each day, nourishment needs that they have. They're all different. You know, when you're trying to deal with, we have around 450 inmates right now, and we're trying to just to please 450 people. You can't do that. They're always going to be complaining about something. But the new jail, I'm excited about that. I don't choose the location. I don't choose how to fund the jail. I just choose what we need to have in order to keep Midland County safe, and that's what we're doing with the next project.
Mr. Painter?
Utilize the best we can, use every space available whenever we get the new jail. Again, just like Mr. Kreiner said, there's people coming in from everywhere. It's going to get filled up, especially with everybody moving into Midland. More people is more crime, so we're going to need a bigger place to put them. And if we use every inch of that new jail, it's going to benefit everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Currently, the marshal's office, in this district, they have about 100 to 120 inmates, and they're housed at two different facilities, and both of them is 3 hours away, no matter whichever one you go to, either Rolling Plains or Eden. My intentions with that is get with the marshal service out of that 800-man bed jail that we're going to have, bring those inmates to Midland County at $120 a head. That money will go back into the general budget, and so that every year, whenever different entity or different sections of the county has budgetary items, that's something that they can pull from. And you're talking 120 inmates at $120 a day. That would make the county very good and very, very beneficial to the county.
I think you must be looking over my shoulder and reading my next question, because it is that the new jail is going to have a capacity of 800 beds with the possibility of expanding to 1,000. Do we have enough jailers to staff the larger jail? And I'll start with you, Mr. McKinney.
Right now, you're talking a lot of jailers, you're talking a lot of people, but you have to go out and go out into the public, go to job fairs, put it in the paper, do whatever you can to try to recruit good people to come to work there. But it can happen. Working in the jail I worked in the jail for 3 years, and it takes a special person to work in the jail. But you can find them. They're out there. They want to start in the jail. They want to start their law enforcement career, and the jail is a perfect place to do it.
Mr. Painter.
Just like Mr. McKinney said, recruit. Go outside Midland, El Paso, Lubbock, Dallas, Houston, everywhere else to recruit. And again, just like Mr. McKinney said, especially these getting out of high school, if they don't know what they want to do yet, see if we can brain them in. It's a good place to get your feet wet if you want to get started in law enforcement. Start from the jail, work your way up. And in the jail, you'll find out if you're into it or not. And some people, they just want to work the jail. Some people want to get into it just so they can get the patrol, which is fine. That's what they want. It gives them further education.
Sure.
Thank you very much for that question once again. Our sheriff's office detention officers are the best paid in the state. That happened underneath my regime. People outside Midland County were saying, how are you doing this? We were temporarily full of jailers for one short period of time, but it's a revolving door. It's a tough job to be a jailer. It takes a lot to be a jailer because of the nonsense you put up with on a day-to-day basis with these inmates. They've got 24 hours to think of ways to trick you into doing things or disrespecting you. And that's a tough job. So my hat's off to those individuals. I worked midnight shifts over the weekends during COVID to help them during our staffing problems during that time. Mr. McKinney was correct. When I took office, we were getting paid $40 a day per inmate. It was raised $104 under my regime for the federal inmates. Myself and Brent Sheets have a great relationship. We always are open to their inmates that they need, and that's always been available to them. And he was helping them utilize and getting that money kicked up where it should be instead of the $40 to $104 a day. And yes, we did use a third party to help with jail staffing needs because we decided outside of the box.
So if I heard correctly, there are 450 inmates currently in the Midland County Jail. And again, this new jail is going to have a capacity of 800 to 1,000. Mr. McKinney, you touched on this a bit, but do you suspect that the jail will be full consistently? And if not, what is the plan for that excess space? Mr. McKinney, we'll start with you.
Okay. At the old courthouse, it was very small, and we thought we'd never run out of space. We built the new jail in 1991. We moved into it across the tracks there on Main Street in 1991. It was like 250. There's no way we'll ever run out, but we did. We increased it again several years later to 500. We'll be retired and long gone by the time it ever gets to 500. Well, here we are having to build an 800. So it's unfortunately, well, fortunately, Midland is growing, but unfortunately, crime comes with that. And we're going to need the 800, especially if we have the marshals over here, which will, again, would benefit the family and the attorneys to have the marshals and inmates over here. But yes, it will get full.
Mr. Painter?
Like the old saying, if you build it, they will come. Midland is growing. It's like Mr. McKinney said, with more people comes more crime, and we're going to need every bed space available. And if we have to expand beyond the 800, we're going to do our best and find more room and push on. We need someplace to put them so we keep everyone safe.
Sheriff Kreiner?
Yeah, it's hard to speculate on the number of inmates we'll have in the future, as you know. When I took office, we had over 500. We were busting at the seams, having to farm people out to different locations. Since I've been in office, we've reduced that number by 100, and now we're up to 450. So it fluctuates back and forth between 400 and 450, depending on what's going on in society and in court cases as well. This new jail is set up with different pods, and I've been with the architect, and we may not have to go. We can build the 800-man jail. We may not have to open up all those pods to house those inmates. So Kenny has been with me day in and day out. We talk frequently, saying, hey, if we don't need that number, what can we do? He said, we can just shut that part of that pod off of the jail. That you don't need to use that. But when you do need it, we can open that back up again. So that's how we're going to attack that. One day at a time, 1 year at a time. Let's use what we need, but let's go ahead and get it built so we can have that and save taxpayers money over the years.
Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to take a short station break. Please stay tuned, and we will be back to hear more from our candidates in a moment.
Welcome back to our Midland Sheriff's Debate, coming to you live from Basin PBS in the Anwar Family Studio. I'd like to remind our candidates that the rules, as mentioned at the beginning of our program, do still apply. The fentanyl epidemic continues to claim lives here in West Texas. How successful has the Midland County Sheriff's Office been in combating drug traffickers, and how will you continue to fight drugs in our area? Sheriff McKinney, Sheriff Kreiner.
Thank you, Mary Kate. We've been successful. You know, when fentanyl comes across, with our open borders, you don't know who it's coming across with. You don't know what's inside their backpacks, so it's very undetectable at that time. We have 3 guys with the Sheriff's Office that are constantly working that with the member of the DA's office, and we can't really discuss what they're doing because we're not sure who's watching this event tonight, but they are being monitored, and we are taking a big dose of that off the streets. We are working towards the bigger fish per se, but it's a process, as you know. And when you bust somebody on the lower level, they have to be willing to talk. And that's what our guys are good at, getting those individuals to talk so we can get the bigger guys and get that stuff off our streets in Midland County and the city of Midland itself. But we have a close relationship with the DA's office and with other narcotics agents, with DPS and what have you. So thank you.
Mr. McKinney?
Yes, ma'am, and fentanyl is a very dangerous drug. And that is something that when I'm elected sheriff, I will create a unit that will target all types of narcotics, namely fentanyl, right here in Midland County. We don't know what the sheriff's office is doing right now because there's no transparency to the public. We don't know if they're running search warrants. And I understand, I worked narcotics for many years, and if you arrest someone and you want to make them into an informant, you're not going to make that public. But yes, ma'am, the fentanyl is a very bad problem, and we do need to put a stop to it.
Mr. Painter?
One thing the sheriff has started a drug interdiction unit. Their whole job is to find drugs, get them off our streets, keep our schools safe, keep the people safe. One way to help out is by using license plate readers or LPRs. Put them on our patrol cars as well as stationary. That way, when our patrol units are driving these small roads and all roads actually, they can pick up on drug couriers that DEA or ATF or anybody else had put into the system. We can find that. We can find stolen vehicles, stolen license plates, and at times missing persons if they're in vehicles. We can also find human traffickers that are coming through our area if need be.
Did Sheriff Kreiner go on this question? Yes. Okay, sorry about that. Did you answer this question? Sorry.
Yes,
okay.
You started with me.
Yes, having a hard.
I'll elaborate.
Oh, that's all right. No worries. Sorry. The commissioners are remodeling a building to serve as the sheriff's office apart from the jail. Explain why we need a new sheriff's office and how it can be best utilized. We'll start with you, Mr. Painter.
The sheriff's office is growing, getting more people. We do need a new building to help expand, to bring in the new people. It'll be a benefit to everybody involved. There's going to be more room for everybody. There's going to be more room, evidence room for the crime scene investigators, for the detectives, for the patrolman room. It's just going to make it a better place. That way everything's not so cramped. Because I remember when the other one was built, I used to run around it as a kid. So it is getting cramped. Make it bigger. It'll help everybody out.
Sheriff Kreiner.
Yes, as you may know, we're busting at the seams at our current location. We have 2 training sites on location, one on the 2nd floor of our LEB and one in the jail. This new building was a blessing. We were blessed with this building by Parsley, making such a good deal on the purchase of that building. We will now start hosting the Law Enforcement Academy out there once we get out there because Permian Basin needs to have a good centralized location. And our guys are dedicated to training the officers in this region to be the best in the state of Texas. And we do that with our staff. They're well qualified. We have our own SWAT building out there, so it's centralized out there. So we can park our units out there in our vehicles so we can all meet at one place. We have the opportunity to have a command post out there. The training area, if you've not been out there, is phenomenal. It's people are jealous of Midland County, and I'm proud to say I'm the sheriff of Midland County.
Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am. And like I said earlier, we moved into that building in 1991. It was remodeled twice, and it is busting at the seams. Unfortunately, when you have more crime, you need more officers to help combat that crime. And that place is huge. It is very big, and it kind of falls back to the jail. Will we ever fill it? Yeah, we will. Especially for the training purposes. We can invite all state, local, and federal law enforcement to have put on their own training if they want to, and we can train with them. Permian Basin Law Enforcement Academy can come out there, plenty of room for them, and it's just it's a win-win situation for the sheriff's office and all of its employees.
We got a Facebook question here. Talk about the issue of human trafficking in our area, how big the problem is, and what is the sheriff's office role in deterring human traffickers? We'll go to you first, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am. Human trafficking is big. The cartels are realizing that, and they're realizing that they're making more money. Whenever I get elected sheriff, there will be a human trafficking unit. We'll send 1 or 2 of those investigators to a train-the-trainer type school. They will come back and train all the employees. And then what I want to do too is have those employees go to high traffic areas like motels and hotels. Train those employees on what to look for, what to be on the lookout for, and then also go to truck stops. Truck stops are high traffic areas as well. Train those employees as well what to look for in case there is, if they suspect anything, well, they'll know who to call and let the investigators go out there and make the determination if it's human trafficking or not.
Mr. Painter.
Human trafficking is big everywhere. Obviously, bigger the city, the worse the problem. Agree with Mr. McKinney. Go out and train these people. We can also hold training for the civilians if they want to come and learn about it and see because the more eyes there are, the better it helps everybody. If you see something, say something. That's the biggest thing. See it in our schools. We see it in the public. We see it on TV. If you see something, say something, because there's more of y'all than there are of us. It'll help us tremendously.
Sheriff.
Yes, once again, very good question from our Facebook page. We do undercover operations at least every month. And that includes we work with the city here, or with Gerke and his staff, or Mike Griffiths and his staff, HSI, always DPS, sometimes the federal government, because it's a process to do those operations. And we all work together. Each of us have a special niche that we're really good at. And the DPS has quite a few things that we can use, or tools, and we do that consistently because we know how bad human trafficking is in here, in the West Texas area. We are a hub because we have one of the corridors to go through Midland area. You'd be foolish to say that we don't have a problem with human trafficking, but we're trying to make a dent in it by doing those undercover operations and getting those people arrested and held accountable, and then if they're illegal, have them deported once they serve their state time.
Thank you.
In a similar vein, the Midland County Sheriff's Office has been involved in numerous stings against sexual predators and child sexual abusers. So how do you plan to keep our children safe from sexual predators? Sheriff Kreiner, we'll start with you.
Continue what we're doing on those undercover stings. Educate the schools of what to look out for. Educate the parents. Parents need to monitor what your kids are looking at on their phones. You have 8-year-old kids, 9-year-old kids on phones that some parents don't even know what they're looking at. Get involved with your kids. Love your kids. teach them what's right and wrong, and have red flags that go up and say, why are you doing this to my child? What are you looking at? Your kids grab their phone, look at their phone, see what they're doing. Because it's an epidemic out there. And parents have to get involved and see what their kids are doing and monitor what their kids are doing, because we're going to do our end to bust those guys that are preying on the kids. But you also have to make sure that those aren't preying on your kids individually, because those predators are very smart. They know if it's a cop looking at them. So we have very many hurdles we have to go through to get past those hurdles. They don't know who they're talking to. We've done a pretty good job, as you've noticed in the news lately, that we're either catching the Johns or we help rescue women that are trapped in the human trafficking conspiracies that are going on.
Mr. Painter?
Continue with the stings, definitely. Have a sex offender unit that goes out and monitors these sex offenders to make sure they're in compliance. If not, we'll put them in jail where they need to be. Teach our parents, teach the schools, and teach the hotels and everyone else what to look for. It's important that parents be parents. Don't be friends to your kids, be parents. Teach them what sites not to get on, tell them what sites to get on, and then monitor what they're doing. There's a bunch of apps out there that you can use to monitor. It'll help out and help us out in the long run.
Conduct investigations, conduct undercover sting investigations on the internet. It takes some training to be able to do that for the officer, but we have DPS, we have HSI that's already conducting those type of investigations, and help them, assist them. If they get someone that is doing a child, talking to a child on the internet, they'll contact us and we'll set up a sting just like we've been doing. But also contact places like Safe Place. Safe Place would be a very good place for to go talk to the children. Of course, you know, the mother would be there, but talk to the children and see if anything is going on with the child as well, and not just the mother. So Safe Place would be another outlet to go to.
We have another Facebook question. County commissioners have approved a 7% pay raise for deputies. Speak to the turnover rate in the Sheriff's Department. What are your plans for attracting and retaining officers? We'll start with you, Mr. McKinney.
Me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
The turnover rate in 2020 was 20.3%. In 2021, it was 23.8%. 2022, it was 26.87%. And in 2023, it was 20.5%, for an average of those 4 years of 22.85%. They're making good money. When I first started there, granted it was 1986, I was making $19,000 a year, but they're making good money. It comes back to leadership. It comes back to supervision. It comes back to open door policy. I will have an open door policy for the employees. They will no longer have to make an appointment to come and see the sheriff or any of my administration staff. And be there for the employees, be in the jail for the jailers, be on patrol for patrol, be in every section, and show them that you're loyal to them and they're going to be loyal to you, and that will maintain a retention.
Mr. Painter?
Retention is a tough thing because people want to move up, do better. Maybe they find better jobs. Just like Mr. McKinney said, having a good leadership team. You have a good leadership team to the point where people don't want to leave. They enjoy the job. They come to work and they look forward to it. They don't come and look at it as a job. They look at that's their life. That's their livelihood. And you get a solid team. People want to stay, and then you just start building on that, and then you get people in there to teach, and it'll continue to grow.
Sheriff Criner?
Yes, ma'am. You're referring to Senate Bill 22. Since I took office, I have fought every year to get our pay increased because we're competing with the oil field, and I'm also competing with local agencies, the PDs, and also the sheriff's offices around here. Senate Bill 22, they gave us $500,000. And our urgency this year, when I received that money, was to increase our patrol officers, our guys on the streets that fight crimes and investigate criminal activity, because our jailers are making number one in the state as we speak. It's not very easy being a police officer anywhere. And so retention is, how do you define retention? Well, we don't know, because they come in, they think they want to do the job, they go to the academy, and then they decide, this is not for me after all. So it's hard. And I take my hat off to the guys, men and women that do our officers that have stuck around, because they know that we're fighting a good fight, that we have their best interests at heart. It's just a tough situation to be a police officer in today's society.
You've all alluded to this. The Midland County Sheriff works closely with other elected county officials and staff. How important are those relationships, and what purpose do they serve? Mr. Painter, we'll start with you.
Those relationships are very, very near to heart. Without the relationships, we wouldn't be able to work well together. If something was to happen near the county line, or if something was to happen, a pursuit went into the next county. Strong relationships can go so far, especially with the state and federal agencies. Good working relationship, it helped, again, it goes so far, it'll beyond.
Sheriff Kreiner?
Having relationships speaks volumes. I'm on a first-name relationship with all the department heads in Midland County. All the elected officials are on first-name basis with as well. Our surrounding counties, first-name basis with the sheriffs and chiefs of police. DPS, if you look on your driver's license, you see the name Steve McGraw. He's a dear friend of mine. I call him about at least once a month. Federal government, Brent Sheets, written go-ahead with the FBI. It's great to have those relationships because you never know. We all have resources that we can tap into. It's a blessing for me to be able to have those relationships that we have. It's tough. Sometimes you need to fall upon one another each time you can. We've established, or I have established, we get together once a quarter with all the agencies. We meet for lunch. We discuss things. We care about things. Share our stories. What can we do better to protect the citizens of the Permian Basin? And that's once a quarter that we meet. And that speaks volumes. People say, what's going on in Midland, Texas? Well, we're family, and we're very unique.
Mr. McKinney?
Relationships are very big. Every county around has called on the Midland County Sheriff's Office to assist them in either a SWAT-type deployment or just go and help out. We went all the way to Del Rio one time for a major flood. So relationships are big, but relationships inside the county are just as important. The district clerk, Lex Archuleta, Karen Hood at the tax office, those relationships are just as important so that them and their employees know who to call if something happens. And also the county commissioners and the county judges is very important. They're the ones that set the budget every year. They need to be aware of what's going on in the county, what's going on in the sheriff's office. So yes, relationships is very big.
Our time is winding down, so we'd like to ask, what are your top 3 priorities and how will you implement them as sheriff? Sheriff Kreiner, we'll start with you.
Top 3 priorities, keeping Midland County safe, a great place to live and raise a family, and we've done that. Fight crime, we've done that as well. We've done a good job of that. We're continuing the fight against crime. It's a tough job to do. We have the tools necessary, thanks to our relationships with the commissioners and the county judge. It's funny, when I go into the commissioner's court, they always ask me, what do you need this time? And they're never going to ask for stuff because we need to have the tools to fight crime. And I'm always out there because we've got the best equipment, we've got the best officers, and I'm darn proud of Midland County and what we do for the citizens of Midland County. So keep people safe, get drugs off our street, and knock off the nonsense at the border because I'm tired of Joe Biden and his nonsense. And you can take this to the bank. This will never be a sanctuary city or county as long as I'm the sheriff of Midland County and a sheriff in this great state of Texas that we live in.
Mr. Painter?
Transparency, accountability, and community engagement. Having the officers, having public come in and ask questions. Maybe they have good ideas to help the way along. Keeping my officers as well as myself and my detention officers accountable for our actions. And then being out in the public, walking the jail floor, working with the detention officers, working with the patrolmen on patrol, seeing that, hey, I'm there for them. Those are the biggest things.
It's creating a major crime task force there at the sheriff's office. They will predominantly work narcotics here in Midland County. They will help out in human trafficking, and we will also create a oil field theft task force position. When I was there, we had an oil field theft task force position that was under the FBI. That is no longer there. We need to help these oil field companies. They're getting millions of dollars stolen, whether it be at their yard or on location. Greenwood, it's past time for Greenwood to have a substation, a Midland County Sheriff's Office substation. We've got the land already donated. We've got a temporary place to put the deputies. There will be permanent deputies assigned to that location, and it'll be more of a community presence for Greenwood, therefore reducing the crime for our Greenwood friends and families. And also, just like Justin, he hit on, we 100% transparent to the public and have an open door policy for those employees that they can come and ask questions.
I want to thank you each so much. We are now ready to hear your closing remarks from each of our candidates. I'd like to remind you that you all have 2 minutes for these closing remarks. Sheriff Kreiner, we'll begin with yours.
I'm always first, right? I just thank the community of Midland County for putting their trust in me back in 2020. It was a task I didn't take lightly, and I don't take it lightly now. I ask for their vote again. We have a job to do. We're going to continue to do that job because our family is here. Our family is rooted here, and I want to make sure that my grandkids are safe, and my wife is safe, and my daughters are safe as well. We have those units that these gentlemen have talked about already in place. Now the FBI is coming to us saying, hey, can we help you out because we want to be on your side. Not that this division, but they want to say, what are y'all doing? Because they're knocking it out of the park on oil field theft. You guys are doing so much stuff with human trafficking with the HSI and DPS. And so it's a small agency, and our guys are strapped. We're shorthanded, yes, but it's hard to fill those positions. My hat's off to those guys and men and women that do this every day. They see the worst of the worst in Midland County, things y'all don't even fathom what happens in Midland County, but it does. And we bring those people to justice because we're not going to tolerate that in our society. I've taken a stand on that for 42 years. I've dedicated my life to the service of Midland County, or the state of Texas, and most of it here in Midland County, both as a trooper, investigator, and as your constable, and as your sheriff, and also as a deputy back in the early 80s. Justin's daddy was my partner, and he also was my lieutenant, and he was a dear friend of mine, and I love Gary Painter, and I'm glad to call him as my friend back when he was still here on this earth, and he was a good, godly man, and I learned a lot from him, and I trust in God, and I rely on my Savior every day to give me the wisdom to run this agency and help me to be sensitive to the needs of the folks in Midland County. And I hope they feel the passion I have, that I guarantee that I will, in Midland County, the good guy's always going to win, the bad guy's not. And you can take that to the bank.
Thank you very much. Mr. Painter.
Getting out with the people, being dedicated to the job, not just the job, but to my employees, to the community, to keep them safe. Being open to everybody, being open to everything, improving everything, realistic training, not just for the deputies, but for the detention officers. Realistic training, we bring in all departments, all agencies, even feds, to include Midland ISD, Midland PD, Greenwood ISD, to help we all train together. We're all one team, one fight. Serve God every single day, God, family, country. That's how I was taught. That's what I continue to do. I've been doing this since the age of 9, since I started riding on patrol with Dad. And I'll continue to do it until I'm in the ground.
Thank you very much. Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I'm not running for sheriff for the title. At the end of the day, I'm still Rory McKinney. I'm running for sheriff for the employees. I'm running for sheriff for this community. And I love this community. I wasn't born and raised here. My wife was, but I wasn't. But I've worked in almost every section at the sheriff's office, or been in charge of every section at the sheriff's office. So I know what the employees need, and I will be with them. I will be hands-on with them. In helping the community, number one is transparency. You have to have transparency to the community so that they will know what is going on. And either it be, like I say, Facebook, in which the comment section will be turned on the Facebook page at the Midland County Sheriff's Office, or just through regular media outlets. I want to, again, thank y'all for allowing me time to speak here, and I thank the Midland community for all their support that they've shown to me and my campaign team during this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank all of you so much. I know out of these 3 men on stage, there is no shortage of experience in law enforcement. We also want to thank our viewers here on Basin PBS. As many of you know, early voting is already underway. Make sure you get out and get your voices heard, not only for the sheriff's race, but for all of the races in Midland County. I'm done with my formal questions, but I have to ask, how many combined years of experience do we have here?
Mine is ongoing. since
Well, of course.
1981. So I have over 42 years, like I said, with county, and then DPS when I finished my undergrad at UTPB. Go Falcons. I didn't know we were a Falcon until after I left UTPB. And then back here again with intelligence service with DPS. And then Gary hired me back as a patrolman and juvenile investigator. And I was your constable for 7 years. And then became the sheriff in 2020. So I've got over 42 years experience, continuous. So.
If you want to count riding out with Dad since age 9, but realistic since 2001. So over 20 years?
I've got 34 plus years, and I'm currently the court security officer at the federal courthouse, so it's kind of like David still going.
There we go. So I'm a journalist. Math isn't my strong suit, but almost 100 years of combined experience here. We want to thank you all again for being here at Basin PBS. And for all of our viewers, we do want to remind you to become a member of the Basin PBS family. It is only $5 a month. All of this is put on thanks to the community, and we cannot thank our viewers enough.
Well, I think we have just a little bit more time, so I'm going to give you each an opportunity to talk about your personal and professional life and what it is about that has prepared you to be sheriff. I'm going to start with you, Sheriff.
I think most definitely is my walk with Jesus Christ and the support of my wife of 42 years. We've moved 4 times in law enforcement, and she's been there every step of the way. My kids, missed birthday parties, missed anniversaries, missed Valentine's, missed Christmas mornings with the kids. But yeah, they loved me and supported me. My oldest daughter here tonight. I get emotional. I'm sorry, but I'm very passionate about my love for Christ, my love for my family, and my love for my community.
Mr. Painter.
Growing up, Mom and Dad instilled God into us. Take it with me every day. Being in the military, being deployed 6 times, I was away from my wife. 8, 9 months at a time, it just drew us closer. Coming back here, just being around everybody, having the love and support of the community as family, it's uplifting, and it takes it home, and it's to the heart.
Mr. McKinney.
My law enforcement family goes way back. There was a guy named Kip McKinney, who was my great-great-grandfather, who was with Pat Garrett at the time when he killed Billy the Kid. So that's how far my law enforcement heritage goes back. Ever since I was born, my father, Clayton McKinney, was in law enforcement, and he was a Texas Ranger and retired from that position and moved here and went to work for Gary Painter, as did I. And Gary Painter, he was a second father to me. He's taught me everything that I know, him and my dad, about law enforcement, and that's all I've ever dreamed of being. Is in law enforcement.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much. And with that, we're going to conclude tonight's debate. I want to thank all of our candidates for participating in this year's Midland County Sheriff's Debate. And I would also like to thank MK for being with me tonight. March 1st is the primary election is on March the 5th. Early voting is already underway. We want to thank the Elizabeth Yeager family and the Anwar family for their generous support. Programs like this would not be possible without you members. And if you would like to become a member of Basin PBS, you go to our website, and we would love to have you become one with us. Please visit basinpbs.org for details. I'd also like to thank the PBS board, the staff, and crew for tonight's program. I'm Becky Ferguson, and on behalf of Basin PBS and my co-moderator, Mary Kate Hamilton with CBS 7, thank you and good night.